Bear down, Chicago Bears. The defense dominated Caleb Williams and the offense in OTAs yesterday, and people on the street are looking at it, wondering exactly what is going on with the Chicago Bears offense, and should you be concerned? Before I answer that question, I would ask that you hit the like button, the subscribe button, the bell to be notified of future content, and we're going to tackle this subject. Is there a reason to be concerned? Is this a bad sign? Is this the beginning of another problem for the Chicago Bears offense? And I, let's break it down. The Bears defense yesterday dominated, caused Caleb Williams to look pedestrian. Multiple times he was almost intercepted. Dalen Johnson, very close to an interception. Kevin Byard had a good day. The Bears defense absolutely harassed Caleb Williams all day. So, is that a bad sign? Well, the answer to that, no. These are the rookie jitters that Caleb Williams is going to have to work out. And what better way to work out the jitters and the nervousness in the NFL than to have what is a decent middle of the pack? Let's just say it for what it is. It's a middle of the pack ranked Chicago Bears offense that I think will end up being a top 10 defense by the end of this season, that they're going to look really good. So the question would become, well, what about the struggles of Caleb Williams? Well, he looked pretty good for the first couple of days, getting up and into a position where he's actually playing NFL caliber opponents. What does that mean? How is he going to respond? Well, today was a lesson that he learned that these defenses are not the same as what he's been used to in college football. This is nowhere near the USC defense or any of these other defenses. This is an elite level pro football team that doesn't bend and you can't make mistakes against. This is going to clean up Caleb Williams in a number of different ways. And I think this is going to make Caleb Williams a much better overall player by the time we get to the season. The hope here is that he continues to play and he continues to perform and gets better against this NFL level defense. So an up and down day for the Chicago Bears offense during the third practice of OTAs ended with an encouraging message. And that encouraging message came from none other than Kevin Byard. I said some things at the end of practice, like keep it going. We're going to keep making you better, and not necessarily saying he had a terrible day, but days like this are going to make you better. The Bears defense, which has operated the same system since 2022, got the better end of an offense that is learning a new scheme under first-year offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. We had a good day, said Kevin Byard. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that, but to be honest, it's to be expected. You have a returning top 15, top 10 defense, obviously going against a young rookie quarterback who's going to be acclimated and learning things. That's what it's supposed to look like. Wide receiver DJ Moore also noted the expectation of growing pains for Caleb Williams, whom the Bears drafted number 1. During several instances in 11 on 11, Williams was late on throws or held onto the ball too long. With the incompletions and plays that would have resulted in sacks came frustration over the offense not being able to execute. It's frustrating, but we know that we're learning a new system, said DJ Moore. He also felt he needed to relay that reality to Williams. Yeah, you got to, because our defense can get pretty rowdy, as you all know out there. Just calming everyone down in the huddle and just refocusing is the best thing. Byard notes that the offense kind of got after us a little bit during the first practice of the week and came away impressed by several of Williams' throws. Every week is not going to be great. Some weeks we're going to have to be on 2-minute drill. We're going to have to win us a game. Some weeks we're going to blow people out. Sometimes it's not going to be like that. So I would just kind of tell him, like, hey, days like this, just keep fighting, keep going, watch the film, get better. And that's for everyone on the team. Everything is not going to be peaches and cream. You know what I'm saying? But I like his confidence, and he kind of just looked me straight in the eye and said, of course I will. And that was good to see. Coach Matt Eberflus emphasized the growth he saw Williams make during his first week of true practices against NFL competitions. This is his first time ever going against a pro defense, and it's a pretty good one. It's going to be a learning process for everybody. They're getting everything together. It was progress. I saw progress from the first day to the second and from the second day to the third, so it's good. Williams' ability to process the information given to him from the Bears coaches and execute it during practice has been very impressive, according to Matt Eberflus. We're not holding back. We're giving him a lot of information. We're giving him the offense, and you want to be able to go through the whole offense before the offseason gets done, primarily most of it, and work it into the summer. So looks like Chicago Bears did not have a great time, but they had a good one on Wednesday, good practice on Wednesday where the offense looked really good. The defense buckled down and gave him the old, as your grandparents say, the old what for, and it looks like this is going to be the thing that improves Caleb Williams dramatically in this overall context. How he's going to deal with adversity, and look, practice adversity not going to be the same as real game adversity. But if you are able to start to develop your presence in this Chicago Bears offense against a very good Chicago Bears defense, then you are learning. You are figuring this game out, and you're probably going to be fine when it comes down to the real NFL schedules. And by the way, we're basically in rehearsals. I mean, that's all this is. We're practicing, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what we can, what we cannot do, getting a feel for everybody, getting some timing down, getting some rhythm down, getting these plays implemented, going through the process, seeing what it looks like, making it making what's on paper into real, and getting the players moving around, getting the expectation. And guess what? That will end in a very positive way when we get to the games. So shout out to Kevin Byard, shout out to DJ Moore, and Caleb Williams struggling very early, but I think it's going to get better from here. Also, it's now a battle in the backfield with Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson now fighting for that and competing for that second string position. To be the number 2 running back is not a lock for Khalil Herbert at this point, because the Chicago Bears really like what they've seen from Roschon Johnson. Khalil Herbert has a weakness, and that weakness, despite his ability to run the ball, his weakness is in pass protection and in catching the ball, something that Roschon Johnson excels at on both accounts. So the question would be, what is going to happen? Well, we have a report from Brad Biggs. Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune admitted that running back Khalil Herbert is also somebody on unstable ground going into the summer. It's a foregone conclusion that new arrival DeAndre Swift will be the starter. Since the third running back spot will go to a top special teams player, that means Herbert is fighting for the number 2 job with second-year man Roschon Johnson. This could present a problem since the latter has more proven versatility. And Brad says, my first reaction is it will be tough for the third running back on the depth chart to get a uniform on game days, because Travis Homer is one of the team's top special teams players and likely to dress every week if he's healthy. Homer was 5th on the roster in special team snaps last season and got only 6 snaps on offense. That puts Herbert in a competition with 4th round pick Roschon Johnson to be the number 2 running back behind DeAndre Swift. If Herbert can assert himself as the guy, he would have a spot in the offense for a few carries and some plays each game. The Bears could get a little more utility out of Johnson, who was also active on special teams last season, logging 152 snaps compared to just 1 for Herbert. So it would look like what I keep telling you guys, the most likely play out and the most likely scenario here would be that Khalil Herbert is traded or released before we get to the season, that Roschon Johnson ends up being the backup. So the final piece to this is, if you're zeroed in on what the future could hold for Herbert, keep a close eye on how he and Johnson perform over the summer. Herbert doesn't fall into the category who can do multiple things in the backfield. He's averaged 4.9 yards per carry in his career, but his problem is that he's not much of a receiving threat. He's only caught 43 passes across 3 seasons with 3 drops, and he's a liability in pass protection. He allowed 9 pressures on the quarterback in 101 snaps. There were numerous times that he outright missed his assignment, leading to free rushers at the quarterback. Johnson wasn't overly successful running the ball as a rookie, but he is stout in pass protection and showcased capable hands as a wide receiver or as a receiver out of the backfield and made 2 tackles on special teams. If this thing played out as Big says, the Chicago Bears will have a decision to make on Herbert. And I'm telling you guys right now, Herbert is going to be gone. When you really start to put all the pieces together, Herbert can't block in pass protection. We need somebody to do that. So DeAndre Swift, we know, can do that. Roshan Johnson can do that. Now, who can run the ball the best? And if it is Khalil Herbert, then the question is, how close is DeAndre Swift to the ability that Khalil Herbert has? And if he's close to it in that position, then that makes it the obvious choice, DeAndre Swift. And then when Khalil Herbert comes in, does he provide any value at the position versus Roshan Johnson, who can also catch the ball out of the backfield and is a stout pass protector? So I think that Khalil Herbert is on his way out in Chicago. In fact, there are a lot of defensive players that I would like to see come up as potential trade partners for Khalil Herbert move. I think the Dallas Cowboys came out at one point, had some interest in Khalil Herbert. We'll see what happens. And look, I mean, maybe they keep the roster the same. That makes it difficult with Travis Homer and Roshan Johnson, both special teams players. And your third running back, you're probably not going to carry 4 running backs because you're carrying, I think, extra tight ends this time. So, and you got a deeper level of receivers. So it doesn't make any sense. You're probably only going to have 3 running backs. So we'll see. And you can't have these guys on the practice squad either, because then they're not able to play on special teams. So there's an interesting sort of dynamic playing out in the Chicago backfield. We'll keep you updated as we know more information. Now, Chicago Bears defensive tackle Gervon Dexter. He made one major change to his body during the offseason. And guys, does that post not give you, does this picture not scare you just a little bit? And Herbert is a better running back than Swift. I don't know if that's true. I know that I think that he is, but I also know that he's weak in pass protection and that he can't catch the ball out of the backfield. So as far as pure runner, probably, but as far as pure running back, probably not. I don't think it, at this point, it's probably not even close in that context. Anyway, Chicago defensive tackle Gervon Dexter made a critical change to his body for the upcoming season. He's expected to play a large role in the defensive line. The Bears heavily invested in the offense to aid quarterback Caleb Williams, and because of that, they weren't able to distribute more resources to the defensive line. The Bears' 2 worst roster positions are defensive tackle and defensive end, and it's arguable which is worse. The Bears' top 4 defensive tackles are Andrew Billings, Zach Pickens, Michael Dwumfer, and Gervon Dexter. Not much depth there for a new defensive coordinator, Eric Washington, to work with. Dexter started his rookie season slow, but played better from December on. He finished the season with 2.5 sacks. One of the knocks on Dexter's game coming out of college is that he could be slow off the ball. He lacked athleticism and had to rely on power to beat his blocks. Gervon Dexter appears to have taken one step that head coach Matt Eberflus preaches to his defenders on his press conference Thursday. Eberflus said he changed his bodies before OTAs. I noticed the body composition first. Dexter was really good. He changed his body in the time he was off. He's much quicker and leaner. Eberflus likes his defenders long and lean. Hopefully, Dexter will be more explosive off the ball this season. However, losing his frame could cost him his ability as a run defender. If he's a liability outside of passing downs, he might be used more as a rotational player. So now we're going to find out, can Gervon Dexter make that next step? How much did he lose off of his frame? We don't have anything specific to look at, but it looks like there's been a big change in Gervon Dexter, and I hope that this translates into, and by the way, I think with Andrew Billing, who takes up a lot of space, he's a big guy. With him taking up a lot of space, Gervon Dexter, as a skill guy, a little faster off the ball. If he's a little faster off the ball and he can make those moves, then he presents a challenge because he's going to be lined up next to Montez Sweat. You're going to have 2 very fast guys that are playing on the same side of that defensive line. I'm going to be interested to see how this plays out. I mean, and look, we're bringing back basically the number 1 rush defense aside from Justin Jones. We're bringing back the number 1 rushing defense. So I get the sense and I get the feeling that we might be onto something here Let's just hope that Gervon Dexter is in the right frame of mind, and that losing that frame, if you will, does not cost him abilities as a run defender. If it doesn't, then we're going to be in really, really good shape going forward. Also, DJ Moore is talking about why he loves the new offense, why he's really feeling it right now. He gave one reason why he's enjoying the new offense under first-year coordinator Shane Waldron. Of course, they struggled on Thursday, but Moore said he knows that they have more adversity on their side of the ball than the defense that has had the same scheme for 3 years. During Thursday's voluntary practice, Moore was Caleb's only starting wide receiver to throw to. Rome Odunze is still dealing with a hamstring issue, and Keenan Allen missed Thursday to be with his wife and daughter for a family birthday. With DJ Moore, backup receivers, and tight ends, Williams completed only a handful of passes against a secondary that brought everything they had against their rookie starting quarterback, and that is a great thing to hear. The fact that the Bears are not holding back, and that this team is not holding back, and they're coming after Caleb Williams early on to see what he's got. I think that's a great sign. I think that's a great sign for camaraderie for the team. I think this is actually one of those moments where you get kind of excited because that there is some real possibilities here that he hits the ground running, and that's what we're looking to make happen, is for Caleb Williams to catch on as quickly as possible. Moore was asked why he showed up to voluntary OTAs when he didn't have to. And he joked that he came in so he didn't lose his $200,000 offseason workout bonus, but added that he knows the Bears need to get in sync with Williams as soon as possible so they don't have more practices like they did on Thursday. 200 grand on the line, got to make that money. Outside of that, we got to get the connection down with Caleb, with everybody. The whole offense wants to be around each other and build that bond. That's what you want to hear from this team. So overall, is this a bad sign? That's a great sign. The fact that they struggled, you don't want to see them struggle. You want to see them get everything together. You want to see them feel good about each other, to have great anticipation, that Caleb Williams anticipating their moves, that they're doing a great job. But um, uh, it's good to see all of these guys here. The defense putting the pressure on them. They're going to have to come up with a way in this offense. They're going to have to come up with a way to overcome that, and to learn that early on, I think, is going to be valuable. That's all. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. He was asked about the new scheme. He gave one reason why he loves it. He said, "I love it. Everybody can touch the ball. It's complex, but it's going to be detailed in what you do. So you really got to study." The Bears need an offensive playbook that features multiple weapons. General Manager Ryan Poles put vast resources around Caleb Williams for the upcoming season, and the new scheme should help keep their opponents guessing who will get the ball on any given play. Williams will need to figure out where the ball is going for it to work. It's a good thing September is a few months away. So there's still time to get everything ready, and everybody kind of feeling good. Everybody's kind of feeling good about what they're seeing so far out of practices. So let's get over here and let's start talking about some of these some of these Twitter posts. And the first one up is John Frisella from the NFL. He's an NFL insider. He gives in the NFC North, his prediction here is Green Bay Packers winning the division at 11-6, with the Detroit Lions coming in also tied with them at 11-6, but losing the division, and then the Chicago Bears coming in at 9-8, Minnesota at 7-10. So his idea of the season is going to be a winning season, but only a 9-8. Now, as you go down his list of teams, he really kind of everybody. If you look at what he's predicting here, in the NFC, he's basically saying that almost everybody is a 500 team, or very, very close to that 500 level. With the San Francisco 49ers being 12-5, that's his guy. Playoff teams, he has the Eagles, the Packers, the Falcons, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Lions, and the Rams. He does not have Chicago in his playoff prediction here. So that's his NFC prediction. We'll see whether or not it's right. And then I would encourage you to go to Up and Adams and look at Matt Forte, who gave some insightful advice to rookie Caleb Williams when they met recently. And basically, basically what he said was, when he came into the league, he was wondering what people, why were these people doing all this stuff? Like, why were people coming in early Why were people leaving late? He wanted to emulate some of those people. He didn't know what was going on. And he quickly learned that these guys are putting in the extra work and it makes a difference. So he quickly adopted that strategy himself, and it paid off for him. Look, Matt Forte probably, it's difficult to say. Walter Payton is number one. Gale Sayers, arguably, for some of the older people, are going to argue Gale Sayers over Walter Payton. They're 1-2 in this, but this is probably the number three Chicago running back of all time. Matt Forte, great career, very smooth individual, very smooth player. A pleasure to watch, by the way. So I think his advice matters, and yeah, he's one of the. And by the way, he doesn't have to tell Caleb Williams what to do. By the way, because Caleb Williams is already doing what he's saying here in this interview. What in the advice that he gave him is something that Caleb is already doing. So shout out to Matt Forte. Go check that article out. And by the way, the Bears already know. The Bears already know what it's like to lose. And the reason is because they went to a Chicago White Sox game. Oh, White Sox, you're killing everybody. Southside is not good. Not good right now. But Roma Dunze out on the field, Caleb Williams out there. They had an entire crowd here for a Chicago Bears game. He's also, by the way, he is a White Sox fan and a Dodgers fan, according to sources. I don't know if he actually is or not. I mean, maybe he likes the Cubs too. Maybe he supports everybody. You know what I mean? Maybe he thinks that all of these guys are awesome. So there we go, guys. Is this is the Bears offense getting dominated by the defense a bad thing? No. Did Caleb play horribly? He struggled. Why did he struggle? Because most of his most of his big time players are still not there yet. He hasn't had a chance to work with them into the structure of the offense, and the defense wanted to prove a point. Now, did the defense prove a point? That's the question. And yes, they proved their point. And the one thing that I do want to say is, if you guys remember, and I told you multiple times, the Bears had the number one rushing defense in all of football last year, but they had the number 25 passing defense in all of football. That has to improve because that's a very bad that's a very bad ranking. So I think that this team is wanting to get together and improve on some of these aspects. That passing defense has to be more sophisticated and better. And if it is, that's going to cause a struggle for Caleb Williams. But he's going to grow from that, and he's going to get vastly better than he would if you were just kind of going through the motions. So I think the Chicago Bears defense has purpose, if you will, or it feels like that. It feels like they have a purpose right now. And that purpose is to be elite. They want to be the Chicago Bears defense that people look out on the field and they say the monsters of the Midway have returned. That's what I think that they're looking for. And with that being the case, I do feel like this is going to be a great season. I think the Bears are going to be a shocker of a team. I told you guys 13-4. I'm not backing down from that. I think the Bears are going to end up being a really, really good team. And look, if you start to learn how to play one of the better defenses, and they will be a top 10 defense. If you start to learn how to play against one of the better defenses, then it makes the rest of the season a lot easier for you. But that's my time, guys. Thank you so much. So I really super excited about the Chicago Bears for this season. We'll be back on Monday with the next update. Hopefully, a lot more good news coming out of all these camps. And as soon as we know, we'll let you know. Until then, bear down, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.